Hi, it's David Mickel again, founder of all things Mickel Therapy. So in the last two videos, we covered how blocked emotions from body consciousness lead to an overwhelm of your hypothalamus, which affects nervous system, immune system, everything really, all your hormones. It's the control gland of everything to do with you. So blocked emotions chemically cause the hypothalamus to go into overwhelm. So today I want to talk to you about how to unblock the emotions. And this is a largish part of Mickel therapy really. And it involves an understanding of what I have termed my 3 keys to health. So we're going to look at them individually, and you can look at the other videos in the playlist of this series if you want to catch up. So, in other words, if you imagine blocked emotions, they need to flow. And by that I mean purely, and I hate using the word energy, but I use it all the time, so here we go. It's that emotions are just, as I said before, communication in an energetic form from the body consciousness. And when they are blocked, they have this effect in your hypothalamus. Well, really, what emotions are designed to do is flow through us and create the desired response that fits our being, our personality, our energy makeup, who we really are. So they are authentic representations of ourselves. So in the initial stages of trying to work out what was going on with people with CFS and more latterly long COVID and things like anxiety, what I called energy disorders, I realised that the people that were recovering were going into what I call an emotional free flow state, where the emotions no longer were blocked. In order to do that, they were doing pretty much 3 consistent things, and these became the 3 keys to health. So let's look at these. Key number 1, I call it the boundary key. Now, this is about you protecting your energy from unfair treatment, effectively, of any sort, either by a situation or an individual in a situation. And the body tends to communicate that there's a breach in this by creating the emotion of anger or irritation or annoyance. And it can be very small things, but effectively the emotional energy is the same. It is anger. So key 1 is about learning to create very clear boundaries around unfair treatment by other people. And as you start to do that, you allow the flow of today and tomorrow's anger to be no longer blocked. You flow into situations. You want to avoid conflict and drama. I mean, come on, it gets so boring. And really, it's not about anger requesting a request to you by anger that you become angry. And if you have a look at the website, I've done a question answer workshop on this, which you can watch. And it's really about looking for a way for the anger to flow in clever ways. But ultimately, the outcome of that is saying no more to unfair treatment. As I said in Raylan's show, take no more shit from anywhere. Yeah. So that's key number 1. Now, what that does is it frees up a backlog of many years of anger without having to go into the past and address any of it, because the emotional flow has begun again today, and therefore it's not blocked now. And while you can't change the past, you energetically affect how it influences your current day life. Key number 2, I call it the communication key. Now, there are some rules about this. You'll notice in your life that if you try and share your emotions with someone openly, they quite often either take it personally or try and talk you out of your emotions, tell you, no, think more positively. There's no thinking positively to change body consciousness emotions. If it says it feels a certain way, that's it. It's fact. There's no use trying to think positively and stop and reframe and do all this brain work. Your brain has nothing to do with body emotions. Yeah. So when you communicate your feelings honestly and openly about something to someone, really it should be said like, here's how I feel. I wish I didn't, but I do. Yeah. And I think the other part of communication key is that it is a facilitator key. So it facilitates the use of the other two keys, and it's not necessary by itself. I used to have some really interesting conversations with some of my early clients because they were going about expressing themselves very openly to people in ways that our society's not ready for yet, saying to someone, you're starting to bore me now, I'm off. There's no need for this. You can act upon emotion without words. So that's communication key. And communication, while important, just remember that it's a facilitator, please. Key number 3 is what I call the needs key. Now, there are two parts to this. One is we're often very sensitive individuals and we care for people. So we have a tendency to put other people before ourselves. Now, this is a huge, huge mistake. So what you need to do is start to put yourself first in the flow of energy of the world. Yeah? So you know all the analogies. Fit your oxygen mask before even putting it on little Johnny next to you. Because if you don't get yours on, you're no good to him. Everybody loses. So the first part of key 3, which is the needs key, is very much about look after you first. Then you can look after others. Yeah. You're not an emergency service, but if an emergency occurs, hopefully you'll have spent so much time putting your needs first in a self-first way, not selfish. Selfish means no more other people. This is about self-first, then others. The second part of it, which is a huge part of where people get a lot of blockage of emotion, is that fulfillment of the self. The body will quite often produce what I call body boredom, as we spoke about before, but it's more than that. It's about fulfillment of the self. And that can be in a big picture way, am I in the right job? Am I doing the right thing? Is this what I came onto this planet to do, etc., etc.? But really, the starting of the flow of the emotion. Now, remember, boredom seeks something that removes it. So joy, preferably, but fulfillment of some kind, is that you can start working with that in very small scale in the moment, because body consciousness is all about presence here and now. So what you would do in a moment is, if the body sends the emotion of boredom, it will become symptoms very quickly and it will self-propagate, so it sends boredom, you get symptoms, you do less because of the way you've learned to respond to symptoms, which you don't do that in Mickel therapy. You understand that they're just communication about an underlying emotion. So you get boredom, more symptoms, do less, even more boredom, lack of fulfillment, even more symptoms. You get the idea. It's just a vicious cycle, and it needs to be broken at some point. So you need to start in the small, in the moment situations whereby you can say to yourself, right, the energy has obviously got stale right here, right now, in what I'm doing because my symptoms went up. What can I do to lift the energy? And this is where you allow your monkey brain self, or whatever they call it, come up with some ideas. And that is, how can I make this moment even a little bit less boring? So that might involve changing conversations with someone, ending conversations with someone, leaving one situation, moving into another, changing television program, listening to different music. It's the small things that allow energy to start to flow. So they're the 3 keys. You've got your boundaries, communication, but it's a facilitator, and you have the absolute importance of putting self first, then others. And then you can start to work on big and small picture of how to deal with body lack of fulfillment, or what I call body boredom. So they're the three keys. And I would suggest that perhaps you choose one of the keys randomly any day. Open your eyes in the morning, decide what key you want to look for opportunities to use today, and give it a go and watch what happens to your symptoms. Now, if you're interested in more of this, i.e. me talking, must be terrible for you. And if this gets boring, then put it off. Then you can subscribe. Please do. Then you'll get more. And you can also have a look at the details put in the description below about the courses that are all about Mickel therapy that will see you through from the start of it to your full recovery and beyond, because it's not just about recovery, as we'll talk about in a future video. And you can even book a short but very fulfilling session with myself to discuss your own questions or health concerns. Thank you very much.